Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I had a lot of people telling me that they wanted to hear my birth story. Also, thank you to all the people who subscribed to me and have sent me lovely support on my channel. I was a little bit nervous about making a YouTube video because, it's been years. It's highly anticipated, or at least for me and my family and my close circle. So I was nervous about it, and I uploaded it and I filmed, edited it, and uploaded it on my phone, which took a lot of work, but it's up. And thank you to my 27 subscribers and to the 90 something people who have viewed it. So today I'm going to be talking about my birth story and pretty much the days prior to giving birth to my daughter. So where do I start? So the days prior, I know that I was experiencing a lot of discomfort. I mean, that's typical for any pregnant woman. I feel for all the pregnant ladies right now, especially being pregnant during a pandemic. But at the same time, you gotta think about all the positives, and it's like, you're in quarantine, you could chill in bed all day, right? So I was really stressing about Olivia's arrival. And I know that that's common for a lot of moms. I was thinking, when is she gonna come? Is she gonna come early? Is she gonna come late? And my belly was getting so big. I'll insert some pictures. I literally had so much pain in my back, so much pain in my uterus ovary area. I was just over pregnancy, So I remember I'm gonna say 2 weeks prior to Olivia being born, I went to the doctor and I was like, if this baby doesn't come out soon, I'm literally gonna yank her out. But then leading up to it, I was like, no, she has to stay in there. And I think that's common. You're gonna get scared and you're like, no, just stay inside. Stay safe in my belly. My daughter's due date was originally supposed to be November 28th, 2018. And I gave birth to her November 25th. So she was an early baby. I was 39 weeks and 4 days when I had her. And I remember my mom was in North Carolina taking care of me and stuff, obviously waiting for the arrival of her granddaughter. And my family was going through a really tough time at the time because my uncle had just passed away literally days prior to Olivia being born. So on top of all the pregnancy hormones, I had to deal with that loss and deal with that sorrow, So even looking back at it, I don't like to think about it too much because I just get all those feelings again, and it's kind of hard to talk about. But I was feeling I was feeling like I was putting a lot of stress on my body and a lot of stress on my baby because I was so worried about my family down in Florida, and I was wanting so badly to go to Florida to be with them, and I couldn't, obviously a pregnant lady about to give birth. So I was just hoping that Olivia was gonna come soon so that I could just stress with her outside of my body, not giving her that stress, because they say your baby and you are in connection. Everything that you feel, the baby feels. So let's go to the day before I gave birth, or before I went into labor. The day before I went into labor, we had a huge meal. It was the same week as Thanksgiving. We had a huge meal. I ate so much, and I kept getting stomach aches. And I was thinking, you know what? The stomach aches is just I ate too much. My stomach's really hurting. I gotta go to the bathroom. But I know from that point, I was already having, contractions, and I didn't know. So I was just accounting it to all the food that I had ate, right? So the next day, which is the day that I went into labor, I woke up in the morning. I was feeling like I was having so much cramps. I was cramping really, really, really bad. And I told my husband, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go into labor soon, but I'm feeling really, really bad. So I went to the bathroom and my mucus plug came out. And if you don't know what a mucus plug is, it's literally what separates the vagina from the cervix, so pretty much protecting your baby, right? And once the mucus plug is released, it's like a big boogery thing. It's disgusting. Once the mucus plug is released, that shows that your body is ready to go into labor, right? So at this point, I'm like, does this mean I'm about to go into labor right now? Am I giving birth? Is this what's happening? So I called my tias and I'm calling everybody, and they're like, no, my mucus plug came out, and it took me 2 or 3 weeks after that to go into labor. So just because your mucus plug came out doesn't mean that you're gonna go into labor. But in my head, in the back of my head, I was thinking no. And I feel like women's tuition, you always kind of know, And I was like, no. This is gonna happen. I'm about to go into labor, I'm gonna give birth. But that was in the morning, mind you. So that night, my and I go about my day as normal. I'm even posting on Snapchat, you know, pictures of my big belly, and I'm like, yes, if you're wondering, I'm still pregnant. I'm just as annoyed as everybody else that this baby hasn't come out yet. And that night, my cousins come over with my aunt, and we have like our own little secondary Thanksgiving feast. And I'm eating lasagna and flan and all this stuff, right, that I shouldn't really be eating, especially as a woman gonna go into labor, right? So we're watching a movie with my cousins. We were watching Crazy Rich Asians or whatever. And it was good, but I started getting really, really bad cramps. And I'm like, I don't know if this is something that I ate or if this is actual contractions. Again, I know that they say when you know, but I was kind of like weary about it. I had no idea if these were real contractions or if I was like making it up in my head or what, right? So again, it comes back harder and harder. And I'm like, I feel like I have to use the restroom. So I excuse myself and I go to the bathroom, and I'm like there thinking that I have to go number 2. And I'm pushing and I'm crying at this point because I'm in so much pain. And my cousin comes and knocks on the door after I've been gone for like 30 minutes. And she's like, are you okay? We're leaving. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. You know, I like sucked it up and I got out and I said bye to them or whatever. And as soon as they left, I broke down. I was crying. I went to the bathroom. I was sitting on the toilet, like holding my stomach. Literally, I got to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna hop in the shower because I heard that like hopping in the shower could ease contractions or like make contractions. I don't even know, but I just remember something about the shower. So I got in the shower, and when I was in the shower, I kid you not, I could not stand up. I sat down on the bathtub floor and I was just like, Lord, if this is contractions, you tell me right now, because I need to go to the hospital. Like you know what they say? Everybody always asks me like, what does contractions feel like? And I tell them, I'm like, contractions feels like somebody putting a knife into your uterus or belly or whatever and twisting it slowly. That is literally what contractions feel like.
I'm getting a knife. Okay. Why won't you bitches help me? Just breathe.
Okay, and I was at the point where I could not handle it anymore. So I'm sitting in the bathtub. My mom comes in. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, yes. I just, like, please leave me alone. I'm trying to deal with whatever's going on here. And my mom starts getting worried. She starts calling people. And also prior to this, when we were watching the movie, my mom made me a ginger tea. And I don't know if this is just like a Dominican thing, but they say ginger helps women go into labor. So she gave me a ginger tea, and then when the contractions started really badly, she claimed that she was the one who made me go into labor, but who knows about that. Anyway, so I was feeling so bad. I get up from the bathtub. I showered myself, by the way, because I was like, if I'm going into labor right now, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to shower, and I need to be clean. So I took a shower, and I got out of the shower, and I was walking towards the bed, and I literally, like, my legs gave out. So I just laid, like, I fell on the bed, and I just laid on the bed naked, literally naked, and I'm just there shaking and crying, and my mom comes in, and she's like, let's go. She's like, if you thought you were in labor before, like, for sure you're in labor now, let's go. So she brings me my pajamas. I put on my pajamas and I tell my husband, I'm like, let's go, baby, grab the bags, you know, the hospital bags. And my husband was like sitting on watching, I don't know if he was watching TV or playing Xbox. He looks at me and he's like, right now? I'm like, yes, right now. Grab the bags, let's go. So Louis starts freaking out and he grabs all the stuff, and we're sitting in the car, and I'm just like, hurry up, just drive there. And we're living in North Carolina, and my husband's military, so we were going to a military hospital, right, the naval hospital, and it's literally like 10 minutes, less than 10, like 6 or 7 minutes away from our house. And I felt like those were the longest 7 minutes of my life. I'm sitting there and I'm just crying and crying. I'm like, and my mom is like, Alondra, respira, which literally means breathe, right? She's like, respira, and I'm like, I can't, and I'm just like, like crying, right? And she's like, Alondra, breathe.
We will rock you. Sing it.
Like, she's screaming at me, and I'm freaking out. I'm hyperventilating. I'm like, if we don't get to this hospital right now, I'm literally going to die. That's how I felt, right? So when we get to the hospital, we go upstairs, and the lady's like, oh, what's wrong? Or I think it was a man. And I was like, I think I'm in labor. Like, I'm pretty much sure that I'm in labor. So they take me to a room. I have to change into like a little gown or whatever. And when I'm in there, I'm just like crying and going through the contractions, and I'm telling my mom like, I can't do this, I can't do this. I'm crying. I'm telling you guys, like, think about it, like a knife into your uterus, twisting it slowly. That is what contractions feel like. So when the lady comes to check me, the nurse, she goes, oh my God. I'm like, what? She's like, I can feel your baby's head, like right there. And I was like, what? She's like, you're 6, almost 7 centimeters for sure. You did like half of the laboring process at home. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you better get me that epidural right now.
Sorry. Give me some drugs.
Like, if I don't get this epidural, I'm gonna flip my crap in front of everybody. So the lady's like, okay, so you're gonna want the epidural right away? I'm like, yes. Like, as soon as I get the room, I need the epidural. So I'm sitting there, I'm still going through my contractions, crying like crazy, and my husband's holding my hand and rubbing my hair, and I don't even want to be touched at this point. I'm like, get away from me, you know? So so they go and they get me a room, and my mom is like, are you sure you want the epidural? Like, she wanted me to do it without the epidural because I was already about 7 centimeters, so I only had like 3 more centimeters to go to just do a natural birth without any medicine. And I just couldn't do it. You know, she was fighting me on it. She's like, just try. I was like, I don't want to try. Like, I'm literally dying right now. I cannot do it. So shout out to all the women who have their children without medicine. Like, ooh, I have a whole new, or like once I gave birth to my daughter, I had a whole new respect for women. We are so strong. Whether you use epidural or not, like, you are so strong. It is amazing what we do. And the process of childbirth is insane. So we go to my room, the epidural comes, well, the anesthesiologist comes, he puts in the epidural, everything is good and dandy, the medicine works almost instantly, and I was asleep, I promise you, for like 3 hours, I'm asleep. By the way, I didn't time this out, so my story is a little bit, I started having contractions at about 8 p.m. I got to the hospital at about 10:30, 10:40, almost 11. So I was in labor, or at least active labor, for about 2 or 3 hours at home, right? So that's when I got from 1 centimeter to 7 centimeters. And then at this point where we're in the hospital and they give me the epidural, it's like 11 something, almost midnight, right? So for that amount of time, nothing happened. I fell asleep, the epidural kicked in, I was chilling, you know, my husband fell asleep. My mom was the only one awake, being annoying, saying, I want my granddaughter to come. I want her out. Why did you get the epidural? You're slowing down the whole process, whatever. So that entire night, nothing happens. Around 7 in the morning, I get the urge to push, right? And the nurse said, you know, if something happens, you feel like you need to push, click the nurse button. So I click the nurse button. I say, look, I'm feeling like I have to push. Can you send somebody? Nobody comes. Literally not even 2 minutes later, I'm like, I need to push. I click the nurse button again. I'm like, I just called, but I really feel like I need to push. Nobody comes. The third time, I click the nurse button again. I'm like, somebody needs to come because I need to start pushing right now. It's like an intense urge that your body feels like, I need to, you know, get this baby out. So I'm there. The nurse comes in. She's like, okay, are you ready to push? So we start pushing. And the whole process of pushing is kind of like a blur to me. You know, they say sometimes that women, once they give birth, they forget about everything because it's kind of like PTSD and they just erase it from their memory. They suppress it. And I think that's what happened to me because it's a blur, like what happens. But I just know that we started pushing. It was a hassle. We were pushing so long. I could not even breathe. I had no oxygen. They had to put an oxygen mask and attach an oxygen tank to me. And in between the contractions that were coming now at this point, like every minute or less, I would have to like breathe in air in the oxygen, or breathe in oxygen, right? And I just remember my face. I mean, in the pictures that I've seen, my face was white, my lips were white, and I'm a negra, so for me to be white is something serious, okay? So basically, I was pushing for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours, okay? At 9:30, my daughter was born 9:34, okay? At 9:30, I was pushing so much, the nurse, I literally gave up. I literally said, I cannot do this. I cannot do it. Like, I cannot and I will not.
No, I'm too tired. I can't do it.
One more big push.
No.
I gotta give it everything you got, okay?
No, I can't do
I
it.
cannot do this. And the nurse looked at me, you know, and she helped me out a lot, that nurse. She looked at me, she said, you can do it. You're gonna give me one more push and your baby's gonna come into the world. So you think you can do that for me? One more push? And I was just like, I was quiet, right? And actually, the nurse, this is like extra TMI information, but the nurse was like helping me push. She was like pushing while I was pushing, you know? And so I look at myself, like, no, I don't look at anybody. I just close my eyes, right? I close my eyes and I'm like talking to my daughter. I'm like, Olivia, I need you to work. You know that this is teamwork. This is me and you. I need you to help me push you out, because if you don't come out, baby, you're never gonna come out. We gotta do this together, baby. I'm gonna push and you're gonna come out. We're gonna do it. I literally said that to my daughter. I talked to her in my head. And so I just remember that I opened my eyes and she said, you ready? We're gonna do one more push. And I said, yes, I'm ready. And I pushed so hard, guys. So hard. I'm like, yo, all the stuff that I ate, all that lasagna, all that flan, all that food we had yesterday, se me va a salir la mierda. Like, that's literally what I said. Like, I'm gonna poop myself, right? And fun fact, I did poop myself, but I didn't see it. My husband and my mom saw it. But according to my mom, it wasn't that much, but still it's kind of embarrassing to say. But it's true, it's what happens. So I'm letting you know. So I pooped myself. And whatever, my daughter came out. Her head came out first. I remember her head coming out. Like, I feel it coming out. And I was like, that's it. Like, that's it. But the rest of her body then, like, slithered out quickly. But remember that giving birth is not just giving birth to the baby. You have to expel the placenta, right? Tell me why, and this would happen to me. Tell me why my placenta gets detached. That's right, detached. It's in pieces inside of me. So the doctor has to go elbows deep, okay, you heard that? Has to go in, grab all my insides pretty much, and take it out. So he did that 3 times. 3 times, and he was able to get all of it. But that was even worse than giving birth to my daughter. Because at that point, the epidural had worn out, and I was feeling like everything. So then I saw my beautiful baby. They put her on my chest, and when she came out, she had a meconium stub on her booty. So she had pooped herself. She had pooped herself coming out of me, and that's funny because I had pooped myself with her coming out of me. So she had that little meconium stub, and they thought it was like a tumor or something, and I was freaking out, but it was just that. And she was a beautiful baby girl, born at 9:34 in the morning on November 25th, weighing 7 pounds and 14 ounces. You know, I saw her at first and she was so purple and swollen. She had a crooked nose from being, her head was like at the forefront for so many hours, but I had taken so long to push her out. So she was all like purple and bruised and discombobulated. And you know what? Birth for the baby is just as hard as it is for the women. You know, they go through a lot of stress and trauma, and they're coming into this world after being protected so much, or for so long, for those 9 months. So I know it was a traumatic experience for her, but I looked at her and she was so purple and swollen, and I was like, oh my God, is my baby ugly? I know that people say like every baby is beautiful, but at first I thought like, is my baby ugly? Now I know she's not. She's beautiful. But I look back at pictures and I'm like, wow, you know, it's incredible what our bodies can do. I can't believe that I can't believe first things first that I was 7 centimeters when I got to the hospital. I can't believe I went through that whole thing of pushing for 2.5 hours and with an oxygen tank, you know? I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit, us as women, and especially us as mothers. And now that I have my daughter and I'm like working and I'm taking care of her and I'm cleaning, I'm doing all these things, you're wearing all these hats, I feel like there should be much more appreciation for women than there is already. Baby! Bring her in.
Bro.
So I can put her in my video.
You filming already?
Oh, her hair is crusty. I'm done already. I'm just gonna film her this last bit with my baby.
Where you film?
You wanna be in here? And this is my baby now. Her hair is crusty. She's 1 year old and 6 months. And she's cuter and healthier than ever. Right, Mama? I wanted to add that the first, you know, day having a child was so weird for me. Like, it was natural. I felt naturally like the mother instinct kicks in and you're just hugging and cuddling your baby and, you know, you want to feed them and whatever. But breastfeeding was even an issue at first. I was super confused about that. And I could literally do 2, 3, 4 videos about breastfeeding, honestly. So if you want a video about that, I can make a video about that too. And it was just so new, you know? There was times where it was hard to breastfeed her. She was crying and I didn't know what was wrong. She was born with like jaundice and they thought that she was deaf from one ear because she kept failing her hearing test. But it turned out that she just had leftover fluid from, you know, from being in the belly. So there were so many things that I was freaked out about, and I was just so fearful. I was like, I love this tiny baby, but now I have to protect her from the world, and the world is such a scary place. But at the end of the day, I think that being a mom, giving birth is such a beautiful thing, and I'm happy. This is my happiness right here. This is my baby love. My baby love, my sugar bear. I love her so much. Say hi. Say hi. 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 I love you, baby. Anyways, that was my birth story. I'm sorry if I missed some details because I was doing this kind of rushed. But I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching my channel. Bye.